Boston, welcome to the Boston Public Library Fund's Library People Conversation. My name is Paula Saki. I'm the Executive Director of the Boston Public Library Fund. We are the philanthropic arm that helps to support important strategic priorities and initiatives for the library through philanthropic investment. One thing I would like to share is that the city funds the positions and the capital projects within the library, our incredible library system, both the central library and our 25 branches. But nearly all of the programs and additional resources are funded through private investment. So really important work that the fund is doing, thanks to all of you. And today, I am thrilled to have a conversation with our BPL's Workforce and Career Counseling Program staff members, Workforce Development Librarian Michael Brown and Career Counselor Lauren Butler. Before we begin, a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared. Your microphones are muted. A little after 12:20, we invite you to join the conversation. Simply add your questions to the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we plan to wrap up this conversation by around 12:30 or a little thereafter. And so let me begin. I always like to start with a quote, and today we've chosen "free to all." And these words are inscribed above the entrance to the Central Library and at every one of our 25 branches across the city. It's more than a motto. It's a promise that has defined the Boston Public Library since 1848, and now "free to all" is also a guiding core value in the library's newly released strategic plan. We can share that strategic plan link out with you after this event. It's great to look through and see what the future holds for the Boston Public Library over the next 5 years and beyond. As you know, everything that the library offers, including our workforce development services, are completely free and accessible to all members of the community. Behind these free services are incredibly dedicated people, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the Library People webinar, was to share who these people are and what they do, because oftentimes when I'm out talking to people, I hear that "I didn't know the library did that," or "Wow, really? That's a resource we can access." So this is our little way of trying to break through those barriers for people and share the incredible people that work at the library and the work that they do for all members of the community. So together, these staff members in workforce development are 2 workforce development librarians, 2 career counselors. One is a young adult career counselor, and Lauren is our adult career counselor, 4 literacy instructors that work with our community of ESOL, a financial literacy specialist, an instruction and digital literacy team, and even an entrepreneur in residence that resides in our Kirstein Business Library and Innovation Center. So an incredible group of people who are providing excellent and important resources to the community. So today, Michael is here and Lauren. And I want to tell you a little bit about Michael. Michael is a community learning reference and workforce development librarian. In his role, he leads database educational initiatives and strategic outreach to connect job seekers with essential tools for success. He has a master's of library and information science from the University of South Carolina and is working towards his PhD in literacy, language, and culture from Clemson University. Lauren Butler is the BPL's adult career counselor, as I shared. She brings over 20 years of experience in the nonprofit and public sectors with a focus on workforce development. Throughout her career, she has held a variety of roles, including assistant program director and career coach. Lauren holds a master's of education in policy planning and administration from BU's Wheelock College. Wow, that was got to take a breath. A lot of good credentials there, guys. We have incredibly educated and passionate people working here at the library, and you two are just amazing examples. So let's start our question and our conversations. Question and conversation. The workforce development team falls under the community learning department here at the library. Introduce us to the role and purpose of your team. Michael, why don't you
I
start?
would love to. So, quite frankly, our role and purpose is simply to be, as you said, free to all and to help those who are looking to enter into the workforce market. We are the team here dedicated inside of community learning that is focused on making sure that people who enter our library have access to what they need to enter into the job force, gain access to a plethora of resources to help them jumpstart their careers or make important pivots. We are the workforce team that is focused on the community. We journey outwards into the community to provide all of our services anywhere that there is a table and a place to stand.
That's amazing. Lauren, why don't you share a little bit?
Yeah, everything that Michael said is true. I think one of the things that I absolutely love about my job is that every day is a little bit different. As Michael said, we travel around to the different branches. So, for example, on any given Monday, I'm usually at the East Boston branch. On Tuesdays, I'm in Dorchester at the Codman branch, and Thursdays in Hyde Park. So, really every day I'm meeting with the public and trying to help them solve problems and figure out ways to connect them to resources because we have so much to offer in Boston and oftentimes it's hard to know where to start. So that's kind of our job to figure that out.
That's great. That's great. I think we'll get to this, but if we don't, are there any particular resources in particular that you might call out?
Yes, definitely. So, a big part of my job and my role as the workforce development librarian is research. So, I'm consistently conducting research on the latest trends and the best ways for people to break into a variety of different markets based on the latest findings coming out of Harvard, coming out of the general workforce data that the city has, but also based on case by case qualitative and quantitative data that I derive from Lauren and Santos, our young adult career counselor, to attempt to craft things that the public needs. So, one of our biggest things that we do is a back to work basics kind of package where it's a ATS, which is applicant tracking software, resume template that is designed for digital use. It's designed for people to upload their resume into all of the variety of institutions that are looking for people to hire and not get tripped up by incorrect formatting. We do cover letter creation and tips and tricks, as well as connecting them directly to partner information and referrals. So by doing the research and bringing all that together, we kind of have a total package for those who don't know what they need.
Right.
And this, along with our classes, allow us to truly meet the people where they are. I will say a big deal is, as Lauren said, we're a part of the community. So it's not just at the 26 branches that Boston Public Library has, we actually go out to partners as well. And we do a variety of different tasks at partnered organizations to give them what they need going forward.
That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Lauren, tell us a little bit about a typical day and what it looks like for you as the BPL career counselor.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, every day is different. I think one of the things that is truly remarkable about what I get to do is that I get to build relationships with people. I have had a varied work background myself, so I'm meeting people who oftentimes are in a very vulnerable position. They've either lost their job or, are worried about losing their job or really unhappy and kind of trying to figure out what they want to do next. So our team can do the practical stuff, which is like the template for your resume that Michael has talked about, that just amazing, the research that he does to bring that so people can get what I say the job of a resume is to get it in front of a recruiter. And so the next kind of piece of that is really what I do on my day to day. I listen to people and I really try to hear and ask pointed questions about what it is that they have liked about their job, have not liked about their job. I feel as though a lot of what I do is trying to hear what people are saying even when they're not saying it. So just every day I get to hear about what people would like to do and try to help them figure out action plans to make that happen. And I have honestly the best job, I think.
How do people get in touch with you, Lauren? So these are basically a lot of what you're doing is one-on-one opportunities to sit with patrons. How do they reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of different ways. I do have a direct link on the website, on the BPL website, so you can make an appointment with me on the day and time that works for you. Again, I do virtual appointments, but I'm also in East Boston, Codman, and Hyde Park. You can reach out to our BPL job help at bpl.org and just kind of put in a ticket, if you will, if you're not sure what kind of help you need, and we can triage that and decide, should you start with getting your resume reviewed, or is that kind of all set and you want to have a deeper conversation with me, for example, about next steps. And again, like Michael said, we are out in the community. So a lot of what I end up kind of doing is through word of mouth. People will say, oh, you know what? My brother or my sister came to see you and they said maybe that you could help me as well. So that's kind of a more, kind of basic way, I guess, that you can say that our information is shared throughout the community.
Yeah, the word gets out. That's amazing. That's amazing. So as public demand continues to grow for these resources, the workforce services resources, what trends are you seeing in the types of jobs patrons are searching for or the skills they want to build? Are there industries or career fields you see growing in Boston that patrons are especially interested in right now? Michael, you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm so excited that you asked this question. So the short answer is people are looking for jobs.
Exactly.
They are looking for jobs that will allow them to grow. So
Right.
as demand for workforce services, particularly at libraries like ours, grow,
Yeah.
we're seeing that patrons are searching for jobs in which they can enter that uses their base level skills, but also allow them to grow. When we talk about high need sectors of workforce and what our patrons are looking for, I think our top five, and Lauren can correct me if I'm wrong, but our top five is healthcare and or allied health. So things like
Mhm.
medical assistants, CNAs, behavioral health techs, things that don't require you to have like a high level of medical knowledge, but you can get in on the ground floor and train yourself up. There's IT and just technology in period. Things like cybersecurity, software development, and data analysis that we here at the library offer free training on and access to free classes in. The
That's great.
skilled trades is huge right now.
So that's
Everything,
construction and plumbing and
electrician work,
yeah.
HVAC techs, anything that you could typically find on the City of Boston's job bank,
Yes.
people are trying to gain access to and get the skills necessary to do it. And
Hmm.
kind of on the flip side of that, education and childcare is one of those high need sectors that do require like a lot of training and education, but it's something that people can easily see themselves in.
Hmm.
Everyone has a story about a teacher who changed their life.
Right.
And for a lot of people who are re-entering into the workforce, that's what they're searching for. They're trying to meet that triangle of need. Your job should meet your financial requirements. It should provide you with a reputation or make you feel good about having it. And it should be something that you can strive for. And for a
Mhm.
lot of people, education and childcare, while might not while it might not meet that money requirement, it fulfills you in so many other ways that they feel that this is a career that I want to spend the rest of my life attempting to get in and do. And finally, we have hospitality and retail.
Yeah.
As tourism and event planning and things rebound after the pandemic, because we're still feeling the effects of the pandemic,
Yeah.
um, there is such a high need that is low lift. So you don't have to have a specialty set of skills, but you can enter into this job field and be able to accurately do something.
Hmm.
And I think this goes hand in hand with like the in demand skills that the sector are looking for their people to have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Do you, when you talked a little bit about the helping them with we have a lot of databases, I think it's
Mhm,
Skillshare, or that really can provide people with free certifications, right? For some of
mhm.
these opportunities. So where would people go to look for those? Is that on a website, or are those all aggregated somewhere on the BPL web page?
Yes, they are. So if anyone is looking to gain access to any of the high demand skills, which is things like digital literacy, AI tools, technical certifications, soft skills, and hard skills, then if they go to our job and career success page by simply going to BPL, searching for jobs and careers, they will find the page, and we have everything nestled or labeled for people to be able to look through. Everything from book lists created by our central workforce development librarian, Elizabeth, who is amazing, by the way. If you're looking for a
Mhm.
book list, please look at ours, to our technical partnerships via LinkedIn for all of your tech training and skills, Skill Mill for
Yes.
your blue collar learning needs, and our plethora of other resources and databases that are available to you. I will say that when we talk about like this sector, there are tons of growing industries in Boston that rely on these skills and on the people who have them. So people shouldn't be afraid to jump into that.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so the Boston Public Library is one of few institutions in Massachusetts where migrants can find reliable English language and job skills training. And right now, we're expanding career counseling services to better support our ESOL learners and immigrant communities. Tell us about the library's efforts to help break down barriers for job seekers who may be navigating some of those language challenges. And I think from my perspective, these are people that come to this country, often highly skilled in their own countries, and come here and really have to start from ground zero. And they're an important resource for our community in terms of our workforce that I think is pretty underutilized. But the library has been very much working really hard, very high demand to help support our ESOL community. And we're really grateful to that. And one thing I didn't mention at the beginning is that, the fund does do a lot of grant writing, and we have some amazing financial support. And I just want to share who those institutional funders are. We have the Cabot Family Charitable Foundation, Eastern Bank Foundation, Hearst Foundations, Highland Street Foundation, and State Street Foundation that have been excellent supporters, really helping us to build the workforce resources and the special commitment to our ESOL community workforce initiative. So I just wanted to put that out there and say a thank you. I forgot to do that in the beginning. But share a little bit about this effort and what you're seeing, the two of you.
Okay. I hope you don't mind if I go first, Lauren, because it's something that pops immediately into my mind. Um, so one big initiative or push that our team is trying to do right now is directly partner with our ESOL literacy instructors. And so, as a part of that push, what we have started to do, as Lauren brought up earlier, is our one on one appointment system. So, I have personally started setting up one on one appointment availability before and after the ESOL classes hosted at our West End branch. So what happens is when students now come early for an ESOL class, they can meet with me right there, and I will go over their resumes for them. I will help them make a resume if they do not have one. And then I will stay as they go through their ESOL class. And at the end of the class, they can either have an appointment with me, or what I've done multiple times is just had a big group style question and answer
Sure.
to allow them to ask me all of their questions, because most of them are similar. A lot of the questions that are being asked by the students in our ESOL classes, they all have these questions. Like, what is the difference of a resume? What is a cover letter? How should I be reaching out? Or what fields can I transfer into? And so it's been really enlightening and helpful, I feel, for myself and for them to make myself readily available in that way.
That's great. I love that.
And I would just add on to that, I think there's kind of two parts to this. It's sometimes the very obvious that Boston is a place with a lot of resources. The library, we are in a huge city, we have everything you can imagine. But I think the thing that really sets the BPL, and in particular, like our team, is that we really care about the people we work with, and that you can make
Trusted,
more than one
right?
appointment with
Trusted. We're a
us.
trusted resource, which is important these
Yeah,
days.
exactly. And one thing, that kind of example of that comes to mind is a patron I worked with who had been in the US for about a year, trying to work on her English. And she's from Senegal, kind of found her way to me at the Codman branch and was really struggling to find a job, just more culturally than anything else. She had a degree from her home country, very competent, strong English skills. And, as Michael was saying, and one of the things that he's so great at doing is getting partners together. So we actually had a small career fair, but she was unable to go. She was a single parent. So I said, give me your resume. I know you, I will go and advocate for you. So, Cafe Nero had headed upcoming. She's now working for them and looking for next steps. So she wants to get a degree possibly here in the United States, and said to me, I just needed a chance.
Yeah.
And I think that is very important to remember, that everyone has a personal story, and it's very easy to just give out resources, but it's a totally other thing, and something that I know that our team really takes pride in, to be able to make people feel like they are cared about and that we
Yeah.
hear them. And even if we don't have the answer, we're going to try to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's the most amazing piece about the library, for those of you who are with us today, is that this is such a passionate and dedicated group of staff members who really do listen and then are able to really help people navigate to the resources within the library. But as you've heard, with external partners and other resources outside the library, and employers, which I think is absolutely incredible. The days of the library in terms of, focusing exclusively on literacy. We're focusing on literacy for sure, but literacy in so many different forms, right? Financial literacy, digital literacy, English language literacy, workforce literacy, nutrition literacy in our Roxbury.
Mhm.
So it's really an expansion of our core values here in what we're seeing, and it's truly remarkable to hear the stories, Lauren and Michael, and thank you so much. That's an amazing story about your patron from Senegal. So can you share a little bit about how the library does collect? We talked about partnerships a little bit. How does the library work with partners as a trusted institution? We get a lot of requests. How do you engage and think strategically about those partnerships? And what's important to you when you're engaging in a partnership?
Oh, that is a very good question. So it's kind of a, this is going to sound so complicated, but it's a threefold process.
Yeah.
So if you're a nonprofit who's seeking to have us refer our patrons to you, we actually have crafted what we call the Workforce Development Directory. So in this directory, we put all of our partners and we sort them by location in the city or what neighborhood they're based out of in service. And we allow patrons to be able to come to our website and look at this directory and find resources for themselves. We, as a second measure, go in and have conversations with tons of organizations. We partner with so many other people to make the magic happen
Yeah.
because there's only so many of us here at the library. I
Right.
wish I could say that we had a staff of 100, but we don't.
No.
We can only do what we can do. And so where we make up for that is by having very strong partnerships.
Yeah.
I would love to talk a little bit about our partnership that we have with Mass Hire Downtown Boston.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal. I only know about them because of Lauren and her amazing work, like finding people for us to connect to. And we had what I like to say is one of the best meetings of my life with some of the people at that organization. And from there, we've been able to work out a partnership where they send their career navigators slash career counselors to
Nice.
some of our branches so
Perfect.
that the branches that we can't directly service on a given day, as Lauren said earlier, she's at about 4 branches a week. I'm also at about 4 branches a week.
Yeah.
And we can only meet with maybe 8 people a day, and that's
Right.
if we don't take a lunch and if we meet with someone every single hour, which is unrealistic, right? So, but we're still meeting with maybe 50 people a week
That's
individually.
great. That's a lot.
So
That's a lot.
by having them supply us with just one of their career navigators, I'm going to give a direct shout out. His name is Andrew. He's amazing. Who is bilingual and who helps work with our patrons. We've been able to increase the amount of people who can now get help. And
That's
at the end of the day, that is what matters. Getting people the service they need
yeah.
to get to where they want to go.
Perfect.
Lauren, you have this saying, it's there's enough, well, there's enough need for all of us. There's enough work that needs to be done that we can easily spread this all out. I
Yeah.
always say there's no need to try to rebuild a wheel that's already rolling. If
Right.
we're all doing the work already, there's no point in us not partnering together to help people get what they need.
That's amazing. Perfect segue. So now our dear colleague Katie is going to be the voice of the questions. And um, why don't you, Katie, share with us any questions that we might have? So we're going to spend about 5 minutes on question, and we'll get everybody out of here on time as I promised.
Yeah, the first question piggybacks on what you were just chatting about, Michael. But is there a way for organizations to refer their patrons to you? So a
Uh,
little different.
yes, I'm assuming the question is asking a little bit deeper, like how do they do this? So if they go to our jobs and career success page, there is a button on the page itself that says book a job help appointment. If they click on that button, they can pick any of our locations that's offering workforce help, and they can directly book an appointment for whatever person they're working with directly through there.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great. So they can refer a client by having them go directly to the page and book an appointment.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. We've got a great question here from Tressa. She writes, with the volatility in the job market in recent months, are there job search tactics that worked in the past, but they're not working anymore? And is there something that job seekers should stop doing when applying and interviewing for jobs?
Really good question. I don't know if Michael, you want to take that or if I should, but
That's a good one.
Go ahead, Lauren. You can
no,
take it.
I think it's really it's hard, right? Because it's not a science. And I think that's one of the things I spend a lot of time reminding people, that you have to put yourself out there, which can be hard when you don't hear back from companies, or you're applying to these jobs and you're really feeling desperate and you have no idea what's going on the other side, in terms of the employer person. I think one thing that I always tell the patrons that I meet with is to really have done your homework. And that is not just about your area of interest, but also like, what are your kind of hard no's. So for example, I always tell people you have to know your worth, in the sense of, if you cannot survive on $20 an hour for your lifestyle, and you know that, don't apply to jobs that have a cap of $20 an hour, because you're gonna, it's gonna be a long process for something that already that's not gonna work for you. On the other side of that, you have to put yourself out there. I'm a big believer in LinkedIn. I know that some people are not, but I recently went to a workshop about what the employers see, and how there are things that you can do. For example, even just putting on that open for work, that is one filter that might be the difference between you getting in front of a recruiter and not, and applying both through LinkedIn and through the webpage directly, which I actually had not really thought about previously. I always said go directly to the webpage, but now because there's so many different ways to apply for jobs, you really need to do both in case a recruiter prefers finding people through LinkedIn rather than the other other strategies that they might have. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Michael, or if that answers the question completely, but
You spoke, it's like we had one brain cell,
we do.
because that's exactly what I was about to bring up, is that duality, right? For a long time, you've heard, originally it was grab your resume, walk through the doors, tell them you want to work here and get that job. And then that kind of evolved into,
Doesn't
oh,
work
you need to
anymore.
apply online. Then it turned into, you need to apply on the company's website. Then it turned into, you actually need to apply through LinkedIn so that a recruiter can see all of your information ahead of time. But now we're evolving, right? In the age of AI, we're slowly seeing that you need to show tenacity. You need to bring your personality to bear through LinkedIn, but also then do that direct application. Because the direct application on their website versus that Indeed application might ask you slightly different things, or might ask clarifying questions that you did not know that they wanted an answer to before. So that is incredibly important.
What about reaching out directly? I have this is just extending the question a little bit. What about reaching out directly to recruiters on LinkedIn? Because that's what many people do too. Like, you should feel you could do that and say, I have the skill set. I'm applying for this job, like a little extra message, or I applied for this job. Is that helpful or no? Do they just get so many of them?
I don't know if
It's
you, Michael, you have an opinion. What I always tell people is, you can't lose what you don't have. And this is
Yeah,
my personality, which
good
I try
idea.
to tell people, like, my personality is if you reach out to someone and they don't get back to you, you don't really lose anything from that.
Yeah.
It often is going to depend, right? Like so many things in life, you don't know who's on the other end. I
Right.
think you always have to be polite about it. I try
Yeah.
to say, like, think about using your connections. So try to find anyone, even if they are working in something completely different, but they went to your high school or they went to your college. Send them a little LinkedIn message, which you can do for free for 200 characters or less, that says, "Hi, you don't know me, but we both went to, Boston Public High Schools, and would love to learn more about the culture of your place." So something like that can be a way to get your foot in the door. That's my personal belief. Like, just
Right.
the worst they can say is no. But I don't know, Michael, if you would agree with that.
that's also my personal belief, but I also take it a step further. So there are apps and like Reddit groups, but most importantly, Glassdoor and Fishbowl, where people are willing to offer referrals for you. People who work for these companies, who are looking for people to join their teams, and they want you to get a job. They want this position to be filled, because that means less work is being placed on their shoulders. So these people offer referrals. You go onto Glassdoor or you go onto Fishbowl, you look up that company you're interested in, and you see if anyone from that company is on the site. And then you directly reach out to them and go, hey, what is your LinkedIn? I would love to have a conversation with you about this role that is available, because I meet all the criteria, I'm highly qualified, and I really want to work here. The next thing you know, you're getting a referral and you're getting a job.
Good. Oh, that's a great idea. Perfect. Katie, any other questions
that.
from our
Yeah, we
wonderful?
have a final question
Okay.
from Timothy, and he wrote, I'm interested in completely changing my career. What should I do first?
Come
Wow.
make an appointment with me.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Exactly. We'll
exactly
send
what I was
out
going
the
to
link.
recommend.
I think we'll send out the link to everybody who has signed up for today for the page that Michael referenced. And yeah, I would encourage you to come in. I mean, I'm answering the question for you guys, but we have so many resources, and that's what these folks do, connect you to all the resources, and we'll learn about what you're interested in and help guide you to those resources.
Yeah, I have one more question, and I think it's the answer you just gave, Paula. My Win wrote, can you assist me in creating a profile on LinkedIn? It seems intimidating. So I have a feeling you all can do that.
I think so.
We actually just finished a class on that. Our workforce development librarian in the Kirstein Business and Innovation Center hosted a full series in partnership with me titled Job Search Fundamentals. And one of those classes was creating a LinkedIn account.
Was that recorded, Michael, or does it live online or?
It was an in-person event,
Okay.
but if you book an appointment with me, I will sit with you and help you craft a LinkedIn or make a digital portfolio and
Great.
do that kind of technical aspect work for you,
Great.
or with you, I should say. And then we move on to Lauren or to another resource as needed.
That's excellent. Great. Any other questions, Katie?
No, I think that covers it, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Special thank you to Michael and Lauren. Thank you to our guests for joining in this conversation. As a follow-up, we're going to send you a report Michael authored that really dives into more of the themes and trends we've been discussing. Look for that email. Katie will also include the link that we discussed. And thank you for joining us. We'll be setting up another one of these conversations and look forward to potentially having you join us for the next one, where we go a little bit behind the scenes and you get to meet the great people that work at the library. So thank you so much and have a great day. Bye, everybody.
So long, everyone.
Thank you.